Good day, my beautiful friends. Thank you for joining this message today and collaborating with me to bring forward some great divine downloads. Something I totally did not expect when I started this channel was getting these divine messages and divine downloads all throughout the day. I was used to getting insights during my morning meditation, but what I have found is actually now, throughout the day, when I'm doing the absolute most random things, messages will come through. And yesterday, I had 5 separate messages come to me. So I do hope to get them recorded for y'all. I do have a life outside of this YouTube, so I will try my best to get everything recorded because they were powerful messages. Now, I have since discovered that the moon is in Leo, although while I was getting these messages, I did not know that. So there are some Leo traits that have come through in these readings, and even in my previous reading, the one that I did prior to this, there was some Leo energy present. So I don't know if these messages are coming through because of the Leo energy that is in the air or what, but someone in the collective is definitely expressing themselves. And I couldn't help but think of the 5th house in astrology. Now, the 5th house is traditionally ruled by Leo, and it is the house of your self-expression. Plus, just being intuitive, I felt some strong Leo vibes for the messages that came through while I was doing the most random things yesterday. So I'm not going to deny that. Now, today's message is about a spiritual baby or a spiritual child that is in this divine feminine's and divine masculine's energy field. But before I share with you what that message is all about, I want to share something interesting that came through yesterday because I want to be clear on everything that comes through. So I was washing some dishes yesterday, and I actually like washing my dishes, hand washing my dishes, because for one, I can make sure they are clean, but also I get the most profound messages while my hands are in water. It happens when I take a shower too. But anyways, I was washing my dishes at the sink. And a long time ago when I did this, I used to play music or a podcast in the background because I always want to be learning. So I was always having some type of background noise. But over time, I have learned to just sit in silence and wash them and absorb all of the things, all of the 5 senses that are involved with washing dishes. Well, as I'm rinsing a plate, I got a message that the twin flame dynamic and how we understand it right now will be changing. I haven't done a video on it yet because I want to get the complete message before I come on here and talk about it. Sometimes my messages actually come in spurts. So I'll get a message, but I have lots of questions because I'm a curious little soul. So I have to wait for the answers to be revealed to me, and that does take time. But it definitely feels like the options for who your twin flame could be opened up. It wasn't just one person anymore. It's opening up to something almost like a soul tribe. And basically what I've gotten so far is a twin flame is when you both share the same divine spark, but you're not the same exact person. So this is the part of where I have questions, I guess, and I will be getting further clarity before I actually make the video. But it just seems like there is something about matching the flame within you and coming together so you can get things done for a greater good of the collective. And this dynamic definitely doesn't have to be romantic. Anyways, when that message fully comes through, I will definitely share it because it's fascinating new stuff for me. How two people that have experienced different things can still come together and share their gifts. But in today's message, now this morning, I actually teared up because it was just so beautiful. It was something that just felt like it was a long time coming and it's finally happening. So, when I first meditated, I specifically saw a divine feminine and a divine masculine embracing one another in bed. And they were facing one another. Their hearts were facing one another. Their third eyes were facing one another. I mean, everything was facing one another. And I very specifically saw a baby in their energy field. And the baby came through kind of like the baby on the Teletubbies, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. I could only see the face of the baby, but it was in this golden sun and it was smiling and laughing. And at one point, I did hear it say, "Mama." It was kind of like that. I can't recreate it perfectly, but it was definitely a baby's voice saying "Mama." And I think that's the first part where I teared up. I can talk about it a little easier, but when you're actually in the emotions and feeling everything, it's a whole nother story. So that was the first place that I actually teared up, was hearing the baby say "Mama." And back to my vision, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, they were embracing one another. And it was just this pure moment. And they didn't even realize the baby was in their energy field. And I feel like specifically the masculine definitely was kind of clueless to this. The divine feminine, I couldn't fully tell if she felt it or if she was just enjoying the moment, so it was out of her mind. The masculine then kissed the feminine on her forehead, and she cradled her head below his chin. So she was just kind of resting on him, and you could tell she felt so protected by his arms because his arms were wrapped around her. And the masculine in this moment felt so loved and appreciated by his feminine. It was really a beautiful moment. And while I'm meditating and everything, I thought that this message was just clear and precise. And, it was what it was. There wasn't any metaphorical meaning to it or anything. It was just a clear message. So my guides actually showed me that this message had two different meanings, even though it used the same visual. So it was kind of like a coin. There's two sides to a coin, and if you divided the masculine and feminine, if you drew a line down the middle, there was two sides, but they were facing the same thing. And so during this twin flame experience, as we know it right now in the collective, there is a certain vulnerability that comes out to your partner. Part of the alchemy between the partners is exposing the wounds, not allowing us to actually be vulnerable. And because of that wounding we experienced, and it was usually through people other than our twin, this happened before we got to our twin. But because of those wounds and them opening and us having to face them, we can alchemize these wounds and allow them to become sovereign in our truth. So in this vision, it really felt like the divine masculine and the divine feminine had done so much work. And they got to a stage where they came together and they were about to make another tiny little human made out of pure love. A love where they were both at their most vulnerable. Now, of course, not all twin flames are on the same timeline because the twin flame collective actually awoke in different waves. So each couple is on their own unique path while still being a part of the twin flame collective. It's kind of like a wave in the ocean. You're still a part of the ocean. There's still waves before you, there's after and after you. And if there is anything you know for sure while experiencing the twin flame dynamic, it's duality. Twin flames know all about duality. Duality is what actually helps us come into union, as crazy as that sounds. But anyways, it makes perfect sense that this visual would have dual meaning. I mean, after all, it is a twin flame message. So I'm going to go over both versions of the message. So in the first version, there is a spiritual baby that is waiting on divine timing to come in for the couple. And it seems like it will be a shock, but also not a shock. There's that duality. So in my mind's eye, I'm actually seeing a couple that has been trying but been unsuccessful. So they have been planning, but they are not fully getting their hopes up. And then the news comes and they are quite surprised, but also they've been planning this. And I also see a couple who are totally okay with bringing a baby into this world because there is so much love between them. But when they find out, it's still a shock. It doesn't mean that they're going to love the baby any less. It's just, it's real. It's actually happening kind of moment. And this specific baby and child is made out of so much love from the feminine mixed with love from the masculine. And these two people that I saw laying in the bed, they have come into union. So they've had trauma in their past, but they have healed things. So they don't actually inflict the same wounds on their children. So the timing of this child is important. That's why you may be a little older than expected to bring this child in, but it's because you've done the healing work and you actually will not inflict these same wounds on your child. So right now, actually, as I'm speaking, I see a couple that is just going along on the journey and they don't even realize that they will be surprised soon by some very, very good news. So, and this is going to be just for a very specific handful of people listening right now, but someone in this dynamic has already bought baby items, even though the divine feminine is not pregnant yet. So that may be somebody maybe speaking to you, but that's very specific. So only take it if it resonates. And real quick, I got another visual in my mind's eye. I'm seeing a divine feminine reading a book to a baby right now. So again, that will just be for a specific group. But whomever I'm channeling for, I just want to say, you're going to have the happiest, cutest, most adorable baby. That's one thing I remember the most about the baby in the sun was just how happy the baby was. It's going to be a life-changing experience for sure. And I don't know why this is coming through. I talked earlier about the Leo energy, but again, Leo is coming out really strong because I just heard someone's guide say, the spotlight will be on you, divine feminine. So you will be the star of the show for 9 months. You get to announce the birth, which you will receive attention for. You will be the star of the show at the baby shower and the center of attention at the gender reveal. And I also see you being in the spotlight even at birth. There's just so much genuine excitement buzzing around this pregnancy. And I don't know why I just said buzzing, so maybe that may have some significance to someone. Maybe the theme of your shower will be bees. Bees do pollinate things so that they can grow. I also feel like someone I'm speaking to didn't have a full family. Something was missing to make their family complete. This could have been in childhood, or they may have always craved or desired a family. So now, with the addition of your baby, you will finally have the complete family that you've always dreamt about. It's such a beautiful energy to be in, and I am so incredibly happy for you to finally manifest what you have been dreaming of. So, congratulations. Now, the other message that came through was the divine masculine and the divine feminine did come together, and the baby in the golden sun represented their own inner child. So it seems like one or maybe even both partners weren't able to have a whimsical, free childhood where they were allowed to just be a child. I saw someone in my mind's eye just having to be mature for their age and growing up faster than they were supposed to. They couldn't necessarily have fun like the other kids because they were busy being responsible. But because of this twin flame relationship and all of the work that has been done, it brings you on your healing journey where this person was able to realize at one point that their inner child is still in them. So you are able to do things now in the present moment to nurture your inner child. And because you are able to be vulnerable with your partner, you can express this desire, this knowledge, this wisdom to them, and then you can both do things that nurture your inner child. So I just saw a visual of two people on the floor laughing, and they were playing some type of game. And this is really, really random. I just saw someone blowing bubbles and even someone drawing with some sidewalk chalk. So there are lots of ways to nurture your inner child and make him or her happy. And your guides are saying play without purpose. So that's actually really, really sweet. So yeah, just go play. It's okay if you're silly. It's okay if it doesn't make sense to outsiders. Engage in your senses, invoke your curiosity. Maybe visit a park, smell the flowers, see the clouds passing by, imagine what shapes they could be. Dance in the wind, touch the grass, hear the birds, just get curious and wonder how things work. How does the sunset get all its pretty colors? What constellation do you see in the night sky? And what myth and mythology goes along with that constellation? Ask questions. Observe any animals that you meet. Get wild and walk barefoot in the grass, splash in some water, play in the rain, jump in a puddle. Even talking about all of these things is making me want to go outside right now and play. If the weather isn't cooperating where you live, you can buy some Play-Doh. It's fairly cheap. Mold some things with it. Make some Play-Doh animals. They don't have to be perfect. I mean, the only Play-Doh animal that I can make is a snake, but I have fun doing it. You can paint something, just whatever you're inspired to create. And I just saw the cutest image in my mind's eye. The divine feminine created some Play-Doh animals, and the divine masculine created some Play-Doh animals, and now their animals are playing together. It's like you and your partner are back in kindergarten playing, and it's the first time that you ever met. And whether the vision was meant to give you confirmation that a bundle of joy will be arriving soon, or it was meant to put your inner child in the spotlight for a moment, this message is giving the best energy, the happiest energy, no matter which side of the coin was meant for you. This was by far one of my most favorite messages to bring because of the positive, loving, exciting energy that it brought with it. We are in such chaotic times, but this energy was so far from that lower vibration. So whoever this message was for, thank you so much for collaborating with me on a message for the collective. Your energy was a pleasure to be in. I absolutely loved it. Mwah.